As a financial coach, I often hear people's goals. And one of the goals that I hear frequently is they want to own a home. And right after that, people get confused on when is the best time to buy a home. They talk about how the market is so bad right now. Interest rates are high. The housing prices are high. Well, that might not change. Let's take a look together of this clip of the Dave Ramsey show. And let's see what Dave Ramsey and his team has to say about buying a home and the housing market. Let's check it out.
Ethan in South Carolina. He says, my wife and I are both 28 and just got married. I am an employee benefits consultant and she is a trauma nurse. Together we make about $200,000 before any commissions that I receive. We also are debt free. We have about $150,000 in investments, $30,000 in a money market account, and are investing our 15% towards retirement. Very good. If I were your son, how would you recommend buying a house? We have been waiting for interest rates and housing prices to drop, but I always hear there's never a perfect time to buy. Is now the time for us to jump in? Yeah, Ethan, I think you're feeling the way a lot of people are feeling that are in your shoes, right? They're saying, okay, these interest rates are high. Should I wait? Like, truthfully, I have the money or I could start to save up more money, but I don't know, is now the right time? And I would say the right time to buy a house is when you can afford it. Like, not based on the market, not based on interest rates. Otherwise, you're trying to like play a timing game. But if you can afford to save the down payment and you can afford to get a mortgage where the payment is no more than 25% of your take-home pay all in, then get the house. And later on, if mortgage rates go down, you can always refinance, right? Like you have options. You don't have to stay in that high interest rate. So for you guys, I think this is great. You have a great income. It sounds like you've got your 3 to 6 months of expenses. You are investing. Yeah, you're doing really, really well. At this point, I would start saving up because it sounds like the $30,000 you have in the money market is your emergency fund, and you should not use your emergency fund as a down payment. So I just want to make that clear.
$150,000 in investments, unless that's retirement, you can use that.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point, Dave. It doesn't say, but if that $150,000 is in like stocks or just kind of like a brokerage sitting there, you could definitely use that, and I would.
Yeah. Okay. Interest rates are going to do what they're going to do. We don't know. House prices are not coming down. We do know that.
I agree with what Dave Ramsey and his team is saying. If you have the money and you have the funds, everything sounds good, go ahead and buy that home. Now, these people are very well off, so you have to take in consideration a lot of factors. But this couple sounds like they have their stuff in order. But I do want to say it's so true about once you buy your home, you can always refinance. Prime example, I bought my home. I think we had a 5.5 interest rate. And then when the market had changed and the interest rates had changed, not so much the market, but the interest rates had changed, I refinanced and I got about a 2.7 interest rate. I couldn't fight that. I wanted to go ahead and refinance, and I did that. So the interest rate is A1 now, but I did buy and my interest rate was kind of high. So you can always refinance. But what didn't go down was the value of my home. Like, if you have the money now, as Dave Ramsey just said, the prices of homes aren't going down. So if you have it, go ahead and buy it now. Prime example, when I bought my house 7-8 years ago, it was nowhere near worth what it is now, right? And we didn't do much to it. We just sat, and the prices have been increasing. So if you buy now, 10 years later, because of this shortage, and we don't have a solution right now, it's more buyers than sellers, the price of your home will increase. You might want to go ahead and get it now.
There's a serious shortage of housing. There are more buyers than sellers, and there's no fix on the horizon for that. That's called a supply-demand pressure. It's 7th grade economics. When there is a shortage of anything, the price holds steady or goes up. It does not go down. And interest rates don't cause it to go down. So interest rates have been up for about 18 months, and house prices have not gone down. Okay? It's that simple. The median house price is exactly what it was 12 months ago. It's $400,000 nationally, and it's not going anywhere. So that's what you're seeing. So don't wait on house prices to come down. So marry the house and date the rate. Mm-hmm. You can refinance your interest rates if they go down, or pay them off and have a 0 interest rate. That'd be cool. But
and if you want to get a pulse on what's going on in the market and you want to start learning more and leaning into that process and learning, you should visit our real estate home base, because you can go on there. And I mean, it's just chock full of all the information that you're going to need to kind of see what's going on, learn about areas that you don't feel as confident in, and ultimately get set up with one of our Ramsey trusted real estate agents that can help you through the entire process. So that's what I would do if I were in your shoes, or if you were my son, which is...
Yeah. Perspective is the thing. So I'm old. So I've been walking around in the middle of this stock market thing for 40 plus years. I've been walking around this real estate thing for 40 plus years. And let me tell you, every year, I've been on the air for over 30 years talking about this. Every year someone says, oh, the stock market's artificially high. It has to come down. What goes up must come down. Hadn't done it. Went down a little bit here and there, but came back up more than it went down. And can you imagine if you had invested 32 years ago in a growth stock mutual fund, how much that would have gone up?
Oh, man.
Oh, and let me help you with this. 1978, I sold my first house for $42,500 as a real estate broker. I was 18 years old. Can you imagine if you owned that house from 1978 that guy paid $42,500 for?
Man.
You understand that's an $800,000 house now. But they have to come down. No, they don't. Nope, they don't. And they never have.
Yeah.
There's no historic data that indicates that. So date the rate, marry the house. Get a house bought when you have the money. And if rates come down and you can get a cheaper rate than 5%, which is so freaking high, I don't know how you people are surviving.
Talk
with
about the 80s, Dave. I love when you talk about the 80s rates.
Man, yeah, it's whining about 5%. But anyway, yeah, it's because it's compared to 3 instead of compared to 12. If it was 12 and it went down to 5, everybody'd be celebrating. There'd be Mardi Gras in the streets. But instead, it went from 3 to 6 and down to 5, and everybody's, oh, God, we're dying. Yeah, okay, so you better get a house, because the next round of real estate prospering, these houses are going to shoot up again. So you're ready to get a house, go get one.
I really like how Dave Ramsey brought it home. And he also talked about his experience in the markets. Oftentimes, people are too scared to buy a home, to invest, things like that. But as he said, he has more experience than me. He said he's been in the markets for 40 years. And people always holler, oh, the market is bad right now. It's going to crash. This crash is coming. It always bounces back when it pertains to investments like stocks and mutual funds. It always bounces back. So I really can't stand when I hear people say the market is going to do bad. The market, historically, for the last 40 years, the market has always went up. That's why people can have mutual funds. That's why people can have index funds, which are based off the stock market. But what I also like to point out is that, yes, index funds grow pretty decent. Mutual funds grow pretty decent. But we are in the time of innovation, and certain companies that everyone knows and keep buying their products, the Apples, the Googles, the Microsoft, the Teslas, the Nvidias, these companies are having historic growth during this time, our lifespan. The most historic growth has happened during this time, the times of the Googles, the Apples. And those companies grow way more than any mutual fund that you can find, any index fund that you can find. Oftentimes people say, index fund is the best place to be, have your money. Yeah, maybe. But we have companies that we clearly see great potential in, and we steadily buy their products that outperform any index fund, any market effortlessly, and have been outperforming them effortlessly. So I'm not saying go invest in one of these companies I named. What I'm saying is, if you are one of the people that are too timid to be in the markets during the time of the most growth of the stock market ever, you might miss out. Another 20 or 30 years could pass by, and they could say during the time of 2020 to 2025, 2030, the markets had the best growth in stock market history, but you were too scared, so you stayed on the sideline, and you missed something historic that went on for 20 years, 30 years, because you were scared. You must not want to build generational wealth if you sat on the sidelines. I just threw that in there because Dave Ramsey did say the markets have been performing well and constantly increasing for the last 30 years in his time frame. But history shows us they keep increasing. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And like always, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.